Hey everyone, welcome back to Child of the Kingdom. Thank you so much for clicking on my YouTube page. So today I'm here to give you all another installment of the Woman of the Bible series. This is number 2 to the Woman of the Bible series. So if you have not seen number 1 and I spoke on Tamar, click somewhere on the screen and that will take you to number 1 just in case you haven't seen it. But yeah, so today we're going to do the same series number 2, and today we're talking about Deborah. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, if you are not familiar with this series, what I like to do is basically, as I read the Bible, I like to pinpoint different characters that were different stories, that had strong female characters, I guess. I don't really like calling them characters because they are real people, but, you know, different strong woman. And besides the Proverbs 31 woman, besides Ruth and these kind of mainstream women that most people study, it's kind of cool to go deeper into the Bible and just look at different women that do things that are still significant and that we can still learn from. So that's kind of what I do in this series. So today we're going to be talking about Deborah. She is found in Judges chapter 4 and a little bit of Judges chapter 5. So yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about her story for a little bit. So if you aren't familiar with Judges, basically what happens in Judges is it's kind of like a retelling of the different judges that were appointed in Israel. Basically what judges weren't like judges how we have them today, but really people who would be in one location and the Israelites would voluntarily go to them and ask for prophecy, ask for advice, kind of settle like arguments and different kind of affairs. And basically the Israelites trusted that whoever the judge they were coming to, they trusted that this person was basically seeking the words and the wisdom from God. So what had happened was Deborah basically told Barak that she had summoned him and told him, you know what, God's telling me that you need to prepare 10,000 of your warriors because you are going to battle Sisera's warriors. And Sisera was a high appointed like chief of an army under the king. So Barak didn't really have that much faith when we think about it, because when God gives us an assignment, usually we do it like that. We don't really question it, or we shouldn't really question it. But Barak was like, I don't really think I can do this, so I'll do it if you do it. And so Deborah was like, okay, I'll come with you. But if I come with you, know that the victory is not going to be on your hands. It's going to be on mine. It's going to be on a woman's. And he was like, okay, cool. So God followed through with his promise as always. And basically at the end of the battle, Barak, or I should say Deborah, basically got victory and like was victorious over Sisera's troops. King was able to run away by foot, and he went to his family friend's house. But the man of the house wasn't home. So his wife, Jael, was home. And so she was like, come on in, I got you. I won't tell anybody you're here. I'll give you water, I'll give you milk. You can sleep, this is a bed and bath. Like, come on in. The king was like, yay, like I'm finding some refuge. This is awesome. But, Jael had another plan. She basically let him eat or drink, let him sleep, and then she killed him. So when Barak was coming to her house, basically looking for the king, she was like, I got him over here, he over there, he dead. That's pretty much what happened. So they were happy that Jael had done that as well. So sometimes we need to kind of take example from Deborah. So let's look at some key aspects of this story. Key aspect number 1 of the story is that Deborah basically threw out all limitations. During this time of the Bible, we see that a lot of the women were, like I said, they had domestic roles. They were caretakers of the home and their children, but she had a role that involved the community, which is awesome. She was a judge, she was a prophet. And, that takes a lot of trust in God for God to even work in you. God works in you when he trusts you, right? So obviously it was a lot of buildup. It didn't just happen like that. So the question we can ask ourselves after listening to the story is basically, what limitations do we have in place in our lives? What are we basically saying is the obstacle, or what is marginalizing us? In this case, it was her gender. We can see it was her gender. Women didn't have military positions. Women didn't have such vital roles in the societal chain. Women were domesticated, heavily domesticated. But we can see that Deborah basically took a stand. She had her trust in God. She trusted in his word and his work. And basically she was able to elevate in her status as well, despite those kind of societal limitations. Yes, she was a female, but she still had a military victory on her hands. She still had battle victory on her hands. So well, think about it. What limitations do we have in place in our lives? What are we saying we can't do because of our age, or because of our gender, or because of money, or because of our experience, our education? What are we saying that God can't do for us because of certain things? Genesis 18:14 says, is anything too hard for the Lord? And this is something we need to keep in mind. Nothing is impossible when it comes to God. Things that our mind would never even dream of are things that God does on a daily basis. Things that God just has to flick his finger and just get done. So we need to kind of understand, stop letting our minds limit us and stop letting things out there marginalize us. We need to come across and over those barriers and, you know, be victorious and have victory on our hands just like Deborah did. Key aspect number 2 is, let's look at Barak's trust versus Deborah's trust. Like I was speaking on earlier, Deborah had a lot of trust in God, and we can see that because he worked in her and used her so much, communicated through her so much. And these are things God does when you have proven yourself that you are able to handle all of that. So we can see that Deborah's trust in God is up here. But Barak, on the other hand, had one assignment from God, and he was like, I'm not doing this if she's not doing this. So when we look at the trust levels under each other's faith, we can see that Deborah held God at a higher regard in the sense of faith and trusting in him than Barak did. And at the end of the day, who won the victory? Who was the most credited towards the battle? Even though Barak was physically fighting, it was Deborah. This is so important because we need to realize that sometimes when we don't trust in God's plan, it limits how much we may receive. Let's imagine us in a lifetime. If I trusted God from the beginning of my life, you know, from all those years up until the end of me, God will really bless me and God will really reward me. God will talk to me more and communicate with me more because of that longevity and because of that trust and that secure foundation that I have with him. But if I'm really wishy-washy with God and God's trying to take me here, but I'm like this, it's going to take me a lot longer to get up there because, you know, there are days when I believe and there are days when I don't. There are days when I'm doubting him and days when I'm like, God, take control. And I'm up and down, up and down, up and down. So we need to take example and learn something from Barak's trust versus Deborah's trust. Deborah's trust was solidified. Her relationship with God was solidified. He communicated to her and through her. Whereas Barak was just not sure. He was shaky the entire time. So think about it now in terms of your life. Who are you? Are you Deborah? Are you like, God, take me over and take me? I got this. We got this. Let's go. Or are you like, are you sure, God? Because, you know, I don't really have the money for this, or I don't really have the time for this, or I don't really have, you know what I mean? Which one are you? And which one at the end of the day do you want to be? Who are we aspiring to be? Who are we striving to be? That's also another key aspect when looking at this story. So that is my Woman of the Bible series number 2. I didn't want it to be too long since my Tamar one was super long. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I hope that it helped you and that you learned something. Leave your comments down below on anything that you also learned, anything that I may have looked over, anything you found interesting, and any video requests as well. I'm open to doing a lot of different videos for a lot of different things. I've been getting emails to do makeup tutorials. I'm not sure if that's something I really want to do, but I mean, if everybody wants to see it, then I may do it. I'm not really sure. Let me know what you guys think. And with that, I will be leaving you. So subscribe to my channel. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.